Torreira's on the goalkeeper and Lamina just completely unmarked. Just look at this and you tell me if this looks like a successful setup for a football team. It's just an individual error pounced upon by a good individual footballer. Right, hello everybody, welcome back to the Golden Sky. I'm Tom, and today we are going to be analysing Liverpool's 1-0 defeat to Galatasaray, our second 1-0 defeat to Galatasaray in hell so far this season. Let's get into this one. Not a pretty game again for Liverpool. Let's get right into the analysis. Okay, so I have kind of reached a stage with Liverpool this season at least, and many of you guys might also have reached this stage where I no longer even really look forward to the matches, and that pains me as a Liverpool fan. Like, I live and breathe football, always have my whole life. I watch not just Liverpool games, of course. I watch loads and loads and loads of football, basically whenever I can, teams from around the world. But nowadays, when I turn Liverpool on, I am thinking this is going to be bad, and I was also thinking that about making this video, and is that I was dreading having to rewatch it back again, another disappointing defeat. And in this game, we were outperformed on XG, all this type of stuff, and I think we deserve to lose this game personally. But all of that said, we did start the game. Maybe Galatasaray helped us, certainly, but we did start the game pretty well, and we had chances to go up in the game. So let's start with that. It was a pretty fast start, so let's begin with those clips. So the goalkeeper has the ball for Galatasaray. We're barely a minute in. In this game, we played a 4-3-3. We tend to change formation a lot, game to game. It can be a different setup, but it was a 4-3-3 with Wirtz on the left, Ekitike up front, and Salah on the right. That's kind of how we're lined up here. We've defended a lot this season in a 4-4-2, especially when the other teams had the ball. This isn't really a 4-4-2. This is a little bit more of a 4-3-3, like I said, maybe like what we would have seen in previous years, especially under Klopp, but not quite the same setup. And it caused problems. We were a little braver, like Szoboszlai is super tight here, McAllister's tight to Torreira. And then we've got Ekitike and Salah matching up on the centre-backs versus on the full-back. So we're quite brave in this scenario. We don't do this that often in the Premier League, but we fancied ourselves here, obviously, against Galatasaray. Now, the goalkeeper plays the ball into Lamina, who comes short, something our midfielders never do. We've talked about this a lot this season. And we jump on this. And if this pass does come into the midfielder, the next pass has to be right. Or the next touch from the midfielder has to be of high quality. And Lamina here, really poor ball. Is going to give this one to Wirtz, who's jumped off of his fullback. You see, he's left that man, and he's jumped to try and anticipate this pass, which should go to Davinson Sanchez. And then the idea would be Sanchez plays this ball out here. Wirtz has pressed, the ball's gone past him, and Galatasaray have all of this space to move into. But they don't execute it well. It comes to Wirtz, and he just should score. I mean, you don't need me to tell you this, guys. You don't need to watch a video analysing this game to know that this should just go into the goal. He misses by quite some distance as well, and for a player of his quality, you really wouldn't expect that at all. He's got to score. It's as simple as that. And he doesn't. So let's move that one on. And the game continued in this frantic manner early on. I mean, we're only a couple of minutes in here. I think that first chance was a minute and a half into the game. Now you see us in our setup. Like, I'm going to point out again just how insanely fluid our midfield is, and I don't necessarily mean that in a good way. So the last clip we saw, Szoboszlai was the more advanced midfielder. I think we'd all agree in this game he played as the more advanced midfielder of the three. And I think we'd all agree also that Gravenberch should be the deepest midfielder of the three. But you see the total opposite here. This three-man midfield is now completely flipped on its head. Gravenberch is almost on the left wing. You've got the front three still. Now, Slot's been using the wingers really wide this season. Salah, always when he plays on this right wing, is right on the touchline, really hugging the width. I don't think it suits him that much anymore because he can't dribble past any players. That attribute seems to have left him completely. But we moved the ball on. Nothing crazy happening here, just settled possession. It goes to Gomez. He gives it to Salah, who actually does attack his fullback nice and early. He's been, I think for me, going a little bit too slow, maybe overthinking what he has to do. Like, he likes to dribble really slowly, and then he tries to play a difficult pass through somebody, and it often gets blocked. If you count how many of his passes or shots get blocked in a game, it's really amazing. But this time, Szoboszlai makes a great run off the ball and becomes our third midfielder in this scenario to be making a forward run out of all of our three midfielders. So again, the structure maybe not the best from us, but Salah finds Szoboszlai. We've seen this combination a few times, especially when Szoboszlai plays in midfield last season, where Salah plays in the ball and he runs down this sort of inside right channel. You might call it the right half space if you want to use that terminology. And Szoboszlai can strike this one into the goal. We scored a goal against Brighton in the Cup, very similar to this, but this time Galatasaray get the block and nothing comes of it. Now, more from our press. Again, we're seeing us relatively brave. It's that sort of a 4-3-3. Midfielders jumping up, Szoboszlai tight, Gravenberch a bit deeper this time. So this was clearly our tactic early on, was to go high, put Galatasaray under pressure. Maybe we'd seen a weakness in their back line playing out, and again, they give us a great chance here. And that's a theme in this game, guys, that the chances that we got, majority of them, apart from the one I just showed you, the half chance with Szoboszlai, came from Galatasaray's mistakes, not necessarily from our good play. And that for me is a worry. We don't generate chances all that often for my liking from our open play. So Sanchez is going to play this ball, he just passes it straight to McAllister, and we're on the counter, we're off. We've got players running. Maka's going to pass this one into Ekitike, but it does end up going back to Galatasaray. They end up with the ball, but this is the same move. Sanchez has got it back. Wirtz does a nice press, really hassles him. You know, we're still high from when we just had the ball, and Sanchez again gets caught on it 2 times in a couple of seconds. It ends up with McAllister playing this ball to Wirtz, and this is a difficult one for me because his body position is not in the right place to shoot at all. He's actually facing completely away from the goal. But I think, does he have the time to take this ball maybe on his left foot and then sweep it in with his right foot? Can he just turn on the ball now? Take it on the right foot, swivel, and maybe fire it into the near post, something like that. Instead, he tries to tee up Szoboszlai, but Szoboszlai's momentum is running this way, and Wirtz's pass ends up going around. Oops, I can't draw the arrow properly. Let's try and do that a bit better. There we go. He plays the ball in a way that where Szoboszlai ends up having to run past it and sort of go back on himself with his left foot. Torreira gets the foot in, and we end up losing another really good opportunity just a few minutes into the game. Okay, so moving on to us on the ball again here. This time Gravenberch deep on the ball and continuing with our fast start, although this is actually going to lead to Galatasaray's goal, believe it or not. So Gravenberch, lots of time on the ball here, middle of the pitch completely, and this is for me the biggest weakness in his game. When he gets the ball here, he's not able to often find a pass that opens up a team or creates an opportunity for us. He's a good carrier of the ball. If he was maybe to run forward with it, that's a strength of his, but he's not a great progressive passer, in my opinion. So here, he's looking for Mo Salah. He's going to open up his body and he's going to try and play a pass to Mo Salah, and he tries to play it to feet. Now, maybe you could argue Mo Salah, the player he is today, is not the same player that he obviously was a couple of years ago. That's not an argument. But what you could argue, in what I'm going to say, is that Gravenberch should knock this ball over the top for Salah and let him run onto it. There's loads of space for him to get in behind. He's already got the run on this defender. I think that's what he should do. Gravenberch tries to play it to feet, and what I'm saying is you could make an argument that's the right thing to do, given Salah's definitely lost a yard of pace, maybe something like that. His acceleration's not quite what it used to be. But what you can't do is sell Salah completely short if you do try and pass it to feet. Like, if this ball goes in behind, Salah's onto it, you know, he takes this defender out of the game, he's in on goal, chance to score. Poor pass from Gravenberch, they intercept the ball, and then it's really poor from us. The left back runs forward with the ball, no challenge, until it ends up getting flicked on by Osimhen, and Konate, for some reason, has been pulled so far wide. He just kept doing this all game, just coming really far out wide. He gets all in a tangle, and Noah Lang benefits from this, gets the ball, runs right to the byline, crosses it in, and they get a corner. And this is where they score. So this is Liverpool's setup from the corner, right? So let me point a few things out here. First of all, Gabriel Sara. If you weren't familiar with Gabriel Sara before this game, if I'd have had time to do a preview, I would have focused on him, because he is, for me, the best corner taker, or you could even just say best set piece taker, certainly corner taker, and I'm talking in terms of delivery here, not necessarily scoring goals from free kicks. The best in the world at a dead ball situation. The best in the world. And he showed that with his first corner right here. This is a speciality of his game. He put in a few good corners, a few good crosses, even from open play in this game. This is his strength, his biggest strength. It should have been a point of emphasis for us to be careful on corners. And I want to look at our setup from this, because we sacked our set piece coach obviously earlier in the season, and who was never actually a set piece coach in the first place. He just took the role, and we've improved since then from set pieces, both defensively and offensively. But have we actually changed that much, or have we just got a little bit lucky, I think? And I want to look at our setup here, because this is a really interesting setup to me. And I'm not going to lie, I've not memorized Liverpool's corner setup. Like, I'd be lying if I said I had. But what I do know for sure is that earlier in the season, when we were conceding a lot of goals from set pieces, is McAllister was often a blocker on the other team's best header of the ball, which is the same thing here. He's blocking Osimhen, who is Galatasaray's best header of the ball, one of the best headers of the ball in world football. McAllister has no chance against Osimhen whatsoever. We all know that. He's never going to block him. Osimhen's way too strong. This is a pointless thing to do. I don't understand. Another interesting thing, Galatasaray put a player on the goalkeeper, and lots of teams are doing this now. Teams put players on the goalkeeper. They try and foul without giving away a free kick. And Liverpool are not concerned with this. Usually you'll see the other team respond by putting a player next to that guy on the goalkeeper and trying to push him out of the way so the goalkeeper's free to move around, maybe come and claim the ball. Liverpool don't do any of that. We just mark this zone, leave this guy in it, and it even continues. Lamina, who scores the goal, he will just walk straight into this space, and you see here, Torreira's on the goalkeeper, and Lamina just completely unmarked, stood next to him. He's the one who's going to score right here, if you don't know. That's what's about to happen. But we aren't concerned with picking it up. You see, none of these players are concerned with picking this player up. It's clearly the tactic from corners. The delivery comes in from Sarah. He catches everybody off guard. They don't really go to score from the first header. The idea is they're going to hit this one deep. They've got the big headers of the ball, so still being marked by our blockers. But in this case, there's no blocking to be done, because all of our big players, they're nowhere near this ball to head it away. And they all just ball watch, every single one. Van Dijk, Kirkes, Szoboszlai there, Kanate. Everyone's just ball watching. Osimhen just destroys McAllister in the air, because of course he does. Like, this is like Wilt Chamberlain jumping over Muggsy Bogues. It's just there's no comparison. And Lamina ghosts in at this back post. Everyone switches off, and he gets this header in to knock it into the net. And that was 1-0. And it was against the run of play, and it's classic Liverpool this season. So we move on. Another chance early in the game for us, and actually a nice move from us, I will say, in this one. So again, the midfield three has switched. Now you see McAllister is the left-sided player, Gravenberch is the furthest forward, Szoboszlai again the deepest. So that fluidity again that we're seeing, I don't really like it, to be honest. I prefer a more structured approach in there, but there we go. Salah narrower this time, and I think that helps us in this situation, because Szoboszlai plays a nice ball through to Ekitike. He switches on immediately. First time, nice link up. Finds Salah close together so they can maybe link up a bit more. I think that suits Salah and Ekitike more when he has someone to work with. Salah does well. Again, finds McAllister, who makes a nice run from deep, to be fair to him. Gets in a good spot. We forced a final defender to come across. McAllister does the right thing. He plays it to Wirtz. Now, this ball's a little bobbly from McAllister. If you're looking at really small details at the highest level, Champions League knockouts, it's a little bit of a bobbly ball. But Florian Wirtz has got to do better with this chance. You can already see just on the screenshot the point of contact. The ball is into the ground and then away, and it just goes straight at the goalkeeper. There's no venom on this shot. There's no purchase. For a player whose technique I've praised countless times this season for certain goals he has scored or passes he's made, this is one where he just gets it all wrong, and a real disappointing effort from him. And a couple of times already we've seen, just in the few highlights I've shown, opportunities he had to score in this game. Okay, let's move this on to another corner from Galatasaray here. Very similar setup again. You see the player on the goalkeeper, not marked by Liverpool. You see all the players that Galatasaray want near the ball. Osimhen, the main one, away from Liverpool's goal, away from the big players who Liverpool want to head the ball away. Sarah takes the corner. Very similar delivery. This time Osimhen gets even more free. McAllister is ragdolled on the floor. Our blocker is actually falling over. That's where we are with this. Osimhen luckily gets this shot all wrong, but it falls out back again to Sarah, and this is what I was saying. some of his delivery and open play was excellent as well. Really good cross on his left foot, which is an extremely sweet left foot. Delivery comes in. Liverpool don't pick up well enough in the box. It's just pretty chaotic. Van Dijk and Konate swap sides. Nobody picks up Sanchez. The gap's too big here, in my eyes. Sanchez ghosts into the middle of it, gets this header. And if it's not for a great save from Mamardashvili, this is 2-0, and we'd be in a world of trouble. Let's put it that way. So, lucky to make that save. Poor play from us once again. Now, more bad play from us. More of Wirtz having a tough game in this one. I gave him a poor score in the ratings. I did not think he was very good in this game at all. And this is just unlike him, really. Again, the midfield is out of balance. Gravenberch, again, the deepest. We're in this 4-3-3. Wirtz has come into the middle to get onto the ball. Maybe not getting it as much on the left as he might have liked. Galatasaray get players around him, usually so comfortable in this situation. He can just manoeuvre the ball out of the way of defenders, find players to link up with. But in this situation, he actually ends up getting tackled by Lamina. He moves the ball on for Galatasaray, and suddenly they have a counter-attack. And our midfield is so out of balance. Again, like we said, I just want you to watch how poor some of these recovery runs are, mainly from Gravenberch. But McAllister and Szoboszlai are so far ahead of the ball. When we lose it, we're in such trouble immediately. The fullbacks as well, especially Kirkes, he's providing that width. Now Wirtz has come inside. Galatasaray attack down that wing. Wirtz has actually ran past Gravenberch to sort of get back and recover. Szoboszlai and McAllister have no chance. The ball comes across. It's not the best cross in the world, but Konate, who should clear it, simply completely misses the ball, as he did all night. He was just a disaster this game, a complete disaster. Not like he has been in recent weeks. It falls to Osimhen, and we're very lucky, once again, that he blazes this shot over the bar, because if he gets this one right, he has a cannon of a right foot. He really does. And if he fires this one on target, we could have been 2-0 down again. Lucky in this first half. Now we move on to the second half. This is maybe my favourite or least favourite photo of the whole game. I mean, just look at this and you tell me if this looks like a successful setup for a football team at any level. What you've got is you've got your two centre-backs with a midfielder stood right next to him. Okay, that's not the worst. Building up in a three-man is never the worst. You got another full-back really close to him, like hugging them, so they almost form a back four in themselves. Your right-back is stood really, really high, but he's actually a centre-back with not really the best attacking qualities, so that doesn't really make sense to me at all. This is your midfielder who stood in what is remotely a midfielder position, but he's in no position to get the ball. He's going to get jumped on. There's no real passing lane here. Aside from that, not a single body, aside from Gravenberch, in the entire middle quadrant of the whole pitch, middle third, whatever you want to say. I do not understand this setup. And we did this all second half. And that's why we just constantly went long with the ball, like we do here. To no avail, really. Just really poor. No one showing for this ball. No one getting in these pockets. Just really, really confusing setup for me from us in this game. The ball does go long. They head it away. We do actually pick up the seconds, which is one advantage of having our players pushed up so high, I suppose. So Szoboszlai gets onto it. He can carry this ball forward. And we end up with him having a good shooting opportunity from the edge of the box. And this is what we rely on in games so often. Szoboszlai scoring goals from outside the box. Mistakes from the opposition team or set pieces. That's where most of our goals have come from this season. I mean, I don't have actual factual numbers to back up those figures, but it feels that way, doesn't it? It certainly feels that's how we generate most of our goals. It's never from a nice fluid build-up from back to front. It doesn't really come like that to us. So, again, just really insane setup in the second half in the midfield areas where I always feel like we lose the battle of the game. Okay, so more controversy in this one, and this time it comes at Galatasaray's expense. We were very lucky, in my opinion, to not have this goal ruled onside for Galatasaray. It was actually ruled offside. Again, I want to look at the positions of our midfielders, a basic vertical line between Gravenberch and McAllister. It makes no sense. This is just from a long ball that Van Dijk's won the header from. Sarah knocks the ball over the top, and it's actually Yilmaz who's going to get called for being offside. Now, there's no dispute here that Yilmaz is offside. I agree with that completely, but I do dispute the fact, and I'm going to side with Galatasaray here, that I think this goal should have actually stood. So the ball goes over the top, and the reason why I think it should have stood is this was ruled out for Yilmaz making an attempt to play the ball. Now, there's no doubt he runs towards the ball. But the rule is you have to make an attempt to play the ball that forces the opposition player to have to deal with that as a result. I am not sure that applies here because Konate has to play this ball regardless, because if he doesn't play it, Osimhen is going to get this ball, you know? Like, if Yilmaz wasn't in the picture at all, Konate still has to run from here to here and get this ball, and otherwise Osimhen's through. So I think we're very lucky to have Yilmaz's run, which barely affects Konate, in my opinion, caused this goal to be disallowed. If the shoe was on the other foot and, you know, this goal was for Liverpool, I'd be fuming that this was called offside. Konate's play after, though, is a disaster. He just passes the ball straight to Galatasaray. They could score from here if they had a bit of composure. They can just square this one. You know, Osimhen runs here, they just square it. But they you know, Mamardashvili actually comes out. They chip it over. Konate again has a chance to clear this time. He just like falls into a mess on the floor. It comes off his side. It like squirms out to Osimhen, who taps it in the empty net. And that should have been 2-0 again. How many times have I said that this video? It's amazing that this game only finished 1-0. And that only continues here for us in this clip. So this time it's Ekitike getting the ball again from a individual error. Galatasaray had the ball on the wing and they pass it inside. Ekitike capitalizes on it. Not us making a nice, you know, progressive move through the middle. Maybe a nice counter attack, something tactical. It's just an individual error pounced upon by a good individual footballer, Hugo Ekitike. And he does that here, pounces on the ball, and when he does this, he's lethal. I mean, he really does leave defenders for dead, so he just runs straight past Sanchez, but it's his finish here that I can be critical of. So for me, I think he's got to take his shot slightly earlier than he does, and he's got to go for this Henry finish, you know, into the far corner. He doesn't quite do that. He actually ends up taking the ball, for me, a bit too close to the goalkeeper. At this point, the angle for this finish is very small, and he tries to sort of dink it over the goalkeeper into this near post. Doesn't quite come off though. You can see the technique he uses is like scooping the ball up from the bottom, and he tries to get it over this outstretched arm of the goalkeeper, but it does hit that arm, and it's a good save from the guy I was calling Sporticus in the goal. So yeah, should have scored. That should have been 1-1. It would have been a crucial goal at a crucial time. We could have gone into on-field level, but overall, I think we probably deserve the 1 goal deficit going into the next tie, so can't have too many complaints. And what we see here is Robbo making a great run down the wing. He's going to get to a really good crossing position. And then you're going to see just how little options he has to actually cross the ball into. And this happens when we get into the second half of games. Our play becomes so stretched and so leggy, and we just seem to lack options in the box. So let's see where he gets to here once he moves the ball on to this byline. So as Robbo gets this cross and looks up, looking to try and cross to somebody, Ekitike isn't really in the best position. Frimpong, not naturally a right winger per se. Szoboszlai not quite making up the ground either. There's no one really for him to hit. And this is a testament to how we play in the second half of games where we do lose a lot of steam. Let's move on to Galatasaray and show how easy they were able to make chances against us even towards the end of a match. And this is again our players just running around, positionless, tired legs. You see Szoboszlai, he's about to run past McAllister and Gakpo in effect to go and press this man on the wing. This fella here who then moves the ball on. Gakpo ball watching the whole time. Robbo comes out. This pass can even get hooked into here if Galatasaray were quick. It actually goes to Torreira, who then hooks it into Osimhen. Too much of a channel here for him to get into. Personally, I think Gakpo should be the one back here. Robbo should tuck in a little bit there. And then Osimhen, he's got a really powerful strike even from these angles. Hits this one across goal. Mamardashvili spills it. It comes out, and I want to just go back to that one actually. You see McAllister, he's with Torreira. He's actually ahead of Torreira when Osimhen has this shot. By the time the ball gets saved, Torreira has beat McAllister to the ball. This is Maka switching off, not having the legs to do this type of chasing late in the game. Torreira wins it, plays it inside. Luckily, this shot was really poor, but a free effort on the edge of the box. How many times do we concede those type of chances? And then Arne Slot says, it was barely a chance at all. Alright guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I really do hope that you did enjoy it. Tactical analysis, I'm happy I got to get this one out for you, and if you did enjoy, please do leave a like on the video. We're trying to get to 35 likes as always on the videos. We're also chasing 500 subscribers, so if you are new around here, click that subscribe button and let's get on the road to 500. Podcast listeners, 5-star rating and reviews. You guys all know exactly what to do. I'll be back tomorrow for a preview for Tottenham Hotspur on the weekend, who might be the only team in the world worse than us. Who knows? So we'll be back for that one. I hope you all have a good rest of your night, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.